Does 0% interest for 6 to 18 months and up to 150,000 with literally no docs, no collateral. Does that really exist? How about an alternative to that where perhaps it's not exactly a business loan, but it might be your best alternative and so much more like EIDL related SBA loans on other forms and quite a bit more. My name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert. Welcome in to this channel. We are streaming on the TikTok channel. This may be then stripped out later when it's on a replay and put onto YouTube. So appreciate those of you who can make it. This is spontaneous. Welcome in. How are you doing? Let me know in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? Give me a hashtag live, maybe a hashtag replay if you're watching later on the YouTube channel. We are again here on the TikTok channel live as I speak. And again, if you're watching this later, it's on the replay. So I want to touch upon the 0% interest for 6 to 18 months that I've been hounding on, not only this week, last week, and months before that. And why is it so important for you to understand why this is useful to you as opposed to another alternative? So what this 0% interest for 6 to 18 months program is, it's a credit line hybrid, meaning you get access to multiple business credit cards. I slurred the word business credit cards at 0% interest APR for 6 to 18 months. Now that depends on the business credit card that you get. Each one is built differently. So what you'll want to do is understand, well, if I'm leveraging business credit cards, how is that any different than getting the personal credit cards? And I'll answer that in a moment. But with business credit cards, you can get a credit line that you can pull, withdraw money out, liquidate, use that cash, for different investments. I did about an hour's worth of video content today, guys, so that's kind of why my word went like that. And I went live on the YouTube channel. So if you guys want to learn more about business financing, I did an EIDL loan update. I went into the 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, the alternatives. I showed you guys on share screen what everything entails. So if you guys go to the YouTube channel, in the bio, click the link if it's there, or go to viralfundingsolutions.com and you will get more information. But I went live earlier, and gratefully so and humbled that plenty of you could make it, and if not, on the replay. So this is a credit line. You can pull money out, use that cash for different investments. A lot of real estate investors really love this program. It's not a true business line of credit. So there are different types of LOCs or lines of credit. You have the credit line hybrid. You can liquidate cash, use it as you choose, and you have higher utilization you can just use up. And just understand that when you have 6 to 18 months free of interest, well, you got to understand that once that's over, what do you have remaining? Like, what will be sitting there? Can you make those payments? That is what's very important. Now, if you're taking good debt, all right. If you're taking bad debt, that's where you will be struggling to justify always how you use your funding. You're digging yourself into an even deeper hole using this money that you don't even have, that will have after those 6 to 18 months. So what good is it doing you? So that's what the credit line program is. Without going too far into details, I'll say a little bit. It's a 680 plus credit program on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. Again, 680 plus on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. And minimal inquiries, regularly you want to have less than 3 in the last 6 months or so. It's similar to what you're seeing in those business credit cards. The 524 rule with Chase, how many times you've applied, inquiries, etc. I won't go into depth on that. I already talked about that the other day. But that's what you can do. You can take money out and use it as you choose. You have these credit cards. You have a limit of 10,000 here. You have another one of 3,000. You have another one of 20,000 there. And then you can use it as you want. And it's a complete startup program. And even if you're a non-startup, this will help you get started in your business and continue to move forward. And then at the same time, you can build your business credit. Just imagine that. You have credit lines that you're using these business credit cards that are then reporting to your business credit, that are then reporting into those bureaus, and you're like, wow, it's just a win-win situation for me. So for those of you who do not have business credit established or not enough of it, this is a huge advantage at play. And then you get access to higher limits. You're at 20, then you're at 30, then you're at 40, 50. And before you know it, what did you need? You needed 30,000, you needed 40,000, you needed 50,000. You have the money. No questions asked. We're not looking at your bank statements. We're not necessarily looking for collateral. If we ask for collateral, it's just because we want to see what you have on hand, if anything. So that's why there's always a form there that I'll ask you, hey, what collateral do you have? That doesn't necessarily rule out that you won't get the funding, that you won't get the card. Now, there are secured cards. It's a bit different on what goes up front, what they need to look at. But think about that. Not one card, but multiple cards. You can use your personal credit to leverage getting business credit cards. Whatever limits you have on here can be somewhat equal to what you'll get with business credit cards. So you have 4 or 5 cards. What's your total account number at? And then we look at that and make a better determination. What kind of cards do you have? What's your payment history on this? Have you been paying on time? Have you been doing something that's not appropriate? Negative, positive trade lines? What is reporting there? What kind of accounts? Mortgages, car, auto loans, personal loans, installment loans, whatever it is. That's what's reflecting. And it's different when you get into the business credit card world. That's what you need to leverage. Now, alternatives to this program, and I'll leave this in the bio, in the description here if you're watching on YouTube or elsewhere. So make sure you check out the Credit Line Hybrid program, and I made a review for it, video and blog post. So check that out. I've made multiple content on that, as well as all alternatives will be down there, and a questionnaire form for you to get in touch, where I can give you a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options from an expert broker. I'm the one who actually analyzes and evaluates this stuff. When I'm not here, I'm working. And so fill that out in the bio, and or the link down below should be one of the very first ones. Alternatives, 401k, IRA financing. Those are highly regarded right now and what people are taking advantage of, and how it can help you with taxes, tax deductible, and all these things that don't report the way you think they would report, and how it's onto your entity, not yourself. You have an S Corp, C Corp, LLC, etc. It really does give you an advantage, and then you're able to see how much you have, be able to leverage somebody else's 401k. There are ways of doing this where you can get the money you need, but you need to learn how to withdraw them and how it works. Interest and all of these other things accumulated, not only with this, it's a bit different how interest is calculated and it's not needed. So different services will give you different advantages. You have an RIA, stocks and bonds, mutual funds, a HELOC. I know from the majority we don't want to get into that because it's our home. It's where our children possibly still live in, and we can't leverage that right now. So there are a few things we have to look at in that regard, and then wonder what to do thereafter. But if it makes sense, it makes sense for starting a business, for whatever you need to do. Hey, how are you doing? Thought I texted you. Let me look at my text messages again, because I get plenty of them a day, and I do check them. I just didn't get time to do it yesterday. I've been quite busy, and then I have family coming tonight. I got questionnaires and emails to get back to tonight. I have to try to work on those. But let me look it over. I'm sure it's in there. I thought I texted. I know I texted a few people, but if I haven't yet, and as well as somebody else in here watching, I'll get back to you on all fronts. But yeah, I get quite busy and I get quite flooded. Yeah, I don't ignore you, just so you know this. I'm not like, sometimes I can't text right away. Like the other day, I had to tell somebody like that was calling me, just really quick text. I was in a meeting and I had to do like 3 different things outside of that. So I had an email that told them just email or text me. And then I got back to them and I did a few things. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm helping out a lot of people right now. Like loads are getting, like this is the busiest month out of the whole year, honestly. November and December are generally the most booming because people want to get ready before the next year. You don't want to wait. And then the interest rates, it's adding a lot of that fear of missing out, the FOMO, which rightfully so. You should be getting in right now. And if you want a line of credit, you don't have one, we can try to work it and see if it's manageable. Lump sum, whatever that may be, that will be helpful. Appreciate you. Thank you for saying that. And again, this is a testament of what I can do. There was a time where I was limited, like everybody, on funding. I have my own businesses. This is one of them. I have 2 other ones. Those are my babies, all of them. And so like you, I'm going to treat you with respect. I'm going to treat you with the utmost amount of quality and information possible. I am not just saying that. Period. I don't just say this. Right now, I got a lot of people coming in, like in and out. Like we looked at certain situations with the underwriters. we thought this wouldn't work, but it was good to do it anyways. It was a soft pull, safe and secure. Boom, we knew that didn't work. Transfer over. Now, this is a situation where we might be able to help somebody on a personal / startup loan. So I'll get into that segment right now in a second. You are most welcome. Yes, I am. I know it's harder to take my word for it if you don't know me. I'm not going to get into my story right now, but those of you who have watched me before, seen my blog posts, I like to be more of a behind the scenes guy. I'm a systems type of person, and mathematically and scientifically, but because I've learned the skill set, I'll tell you this, I'm unlike most people you'll ever work with. What you're getting from me is like, you're going to be like, holy shit, you're going to be like, this guy has this together, and I do. And if I'm going to work with you, no friction. I'm telling you that right now, no friction. Say what you need to do and do what you need to say. Right, counterintuitive. I got you. This is how this is going to go. This is what I'm going to need after this, or this is how it's going to happen. Boom, 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 boom. So you're not like, oh, an unexpected phone call, or oh, you have a teammate. Okay. Why is that? Well, for a lot of reasons. I mean, we have to both see things. I can see what's happening in the underwriting. I can see what's happening with the lenders and what they're deciding on. There's multiple reasons for it, and why an in-house setup is better than just going directly. You have to be careful of doing that. A lot of you guys get persuaded easily and get convinced because you're desperate for money, and you'll do whatever it takes if somebody's dangling a mistletoe or a little bit of money out in front of you, even if it's just a little bit, like, hey, come over here. I'm not like that. And they're going to say, dance, monkey, dance. That's what they're doing to you. They're doing this. And I don't say this out of disrespect. I've been that person before who's like, oh, there's money. And you see somebody, shaking the bell and going, dance, monkey, dance. And they're making you dance, telling you and having you believe that this actually works. Even some reputable lenders out there, I vetted the best, so I know what works. And if you guys are diluted in that, let me take you out. It's not your problem. It's not something that you should be feeling bad about. Nobody educates you. Getting a hold of me. Bio, link click, first button, funding submission form. Fill it out. For those of you who haven't in here done that yet, please do so. I'll evaluate, analyze, give you a proper response back via email. The real thing. No questions asked. You can even get started on that email. Simple. Question, respond back to that email. You have my mobile number, my business number, whatever it is. Boom, reply back to that. It's not always a phone call. Phone calls are fine. Depends on how you want me to maybe explain something, or if you need to explain to me your further details on how you plan to use this money, or there's something that needs to be more clarified, or something that was missing out, I may get a hold of you for. But a lot of this we can do it via email. Right now, just not too long ago, I had a person start a personal loan without getting on a phone call with me at all. No phone call. Because he knows I'm the real deal. We've had communication back and forth already. He's seen my email. He's seen my broadcasted emails. He knows how legitimate and reputable I am and who I work with. And I don't put up with people who are wasting my energy and time. I cut that out. I can sense that right away. So I want to jump into the personal / startup loan right now. Appreciate you. Thank you for those roses. Sincerely. But first, let me come up here to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. And at any point, please feel free to comment. I'm going to go on this personal / startup loan. This is one that's a very popular service right now. It is, I would say, the highest, even over merchant cash advances right now. Why is that? That's another thing you got to ask. Why is somebody getting a personal loan they can use for business as opposed to a merchant cash advance? Aren't those merchant cash advances like 80 to 90% approvals, and they're the highest approved product? Well, on a quote-unquote advanced / business loan level. But when you're talking about a personal loan, there's more flexibility. However, you have to have your credit up. That's the only difference. And then reporting trade lines. So the difference between getting a merchant cash advance, which is based on future receivables, looks at bank statements and a few other things over here, and I have my document together. So I'm looking at a full list that you can't just always find online, and this is through experience of knowing what needs to be supplied. So yeah, while on top of bank statements, a supplemental amount of them maybe need to look at. Depends on where you are, because personal / startup loans, they're somewhat similar. And so over here, the credit score you want to have is at least a 700 Experian. Sometimes 680 can get you in, and it requires at least 5 trade lines built personally. So make sure you have those installment loans, revolving, whatever it is, mortgages, things you have, and you have those reporting positively too. That'll help you. And of course, it requires stronger credit, less than 35% utilization, no recent negative items, derogatory items, minimal recent inquiries. And I would say like a business credit card, less than, and I know it's hard if you're going out there and applying for everything, but less than 6 in the last 6 months, that's too flexible. Like just saying less than, like no more than 3 in the last 6 months, no more than 3 in the last 2 months, right? With 60 days there in the last month. And that would really hurt your chances. And I see a lot of people who come and apply for these, and I'm wondering why did they even apply if I showed them what it takes to get approved for one. But yeah, you can get in with a simple online application. I may ask for your personal tax return for 2021. We're in 2022 now, so 2023, 2022, wherever we are in that calendar year, of course, tax is done. So we'll look at that. We'll look at probably a few other tax returns, personal, if they're there. Maybe a business tax return if you have it, since you've already been in business. So we'll just try to allocate and see what's happening there, and we'll put it into underwriting. And I see these things, so I kind of have an idea of what most people can get approved for, but we have to look at overall documentation. So you have that there, and if you're approved, you will want to supply something like your driver's license, your bank statements, if applicable for that, tax returns, pay stubs, utility bill. So tax returns could be multiple ones thereafter. Sometimes I'll ask for it in the beginning because we'll need it after you have a phone call with our underwriter. That's what will happen. You'll get on a phone call with the underwriter, and he or she will go over what your expectations are, how you plan to use this funding, why you need the funding, and asking for perhaps more documentation like I am. So in similar ways, and I gather it and I can send it to them. Good to go. And so 700 plus 680 can get you in 5 trade lines. That's why it's so important for you guys to understand that you need to have those trade lines. Personal credit, fix it, increase it. If you know what to do, get it done. You're just like, okay, I'm at 650, but after I make these payments, this large lump sum, I'm going to move up to at least a 680. Now, from there, what can I do? Well, we look at a few other ways of increasing your credit. Does it need to be a form of credit repair at that point? That can also boost your points. Yeah, and then we got to remove some other things. Okay, good. Looks clean. Now, what do? We want to make sure you have an annual revenue required of $50,000 in taxes or pay stubs. You guys are like, that's the catch. No, it isn't. Who's going to lend you? We have to make sure we get our money back. How do we justify giving you $100,000, whatever it is, if we're not going to be sure if you're going to pay us back? In what world does that make sense? In what world does a lender say, I'm going to give Jimmy or Sally here $100,000, and they have no money, no verifiable income, no business, no personal income, nothing? How am I going to give them $100,000? Well, oh, we have collateral. Oh, do you have collateral? Do you have sufficient enough collateral? Oh, no, I don't have any. Okay. And even at that, those also will be valued at a certain amount of sales in your business. So that's even if you can get in with collateral offered. Cash out refinances. Maybe it is in your best interest to do a HELOC, the 401k IRA, angel investors, some other form of SBA Microloan program, grant programs, and then crowdfunding equity. There's a few other things we can do to look at. This isn't the end of the world. So what I want to do is now leave it open for you guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, I want to get going before 1 o'clock. Does anybody have questions? Take advantage of what you have now, because I'm telling you, nobody else is going to be like this with you. Who really does care. I do. I don't just say it. You're not a number to me. I got to go back and text a few people. I have to go and email. Tonight I'm going to be around family, so I want to get at least 10 of those questionnaires done. If not, I have Friday and Saturday. Live video on the YouTube channel. One of the fastest growing YouTube channels for business funding. And I don't think people can necessarily do what I do because I'm in the market. I'm in the trenches of what the underwriters and lenders want. I'm seeing it fluctuating. I know what the micro and the macroeconomic level. I know all these things. And so whatever I'm knowing, I can go ahead and share with you guys. I'm in the thick of things. I know what's happening per industry, why it's harder to get funding there versus this one. How to establish, your entity, your business credit profile, making sure you have your personal credit ready to go, who I can help you with on that front. There's so much more. I have my drive where I'm able to see my clients' documentation. I was asking for high documentation, so I organized it there. And I have them all right here. I have a plethora of them. And then I evaluate and I analyze them, and then I'll, communicate with them, or I'll just go ahead and say, hey, let's proceed to the next step. Looks good, without even being said. And then we can move from there. That's if you guys can hear that, that's the washing machine. It's kind of loud. I have some clothes in there, of course, or towels it could be. A lot of clients coming in, guys. So for those of you who just joined me, if you guys have any questions, I'm opening it up to the room. I already spoke. Maybe there's something you want me to speak about again. All of it is. When we speak about, hi big folks, when we speak about your credit, we say everything. We don't just look at the front of it and go, okay, you have a 680 Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Well, when you look at your own credit reports, you see everything, right? You see the different types of accounts. You see everything reporting. Monitoring your credit, that's definitely what you want to do, by the way. But it's your overall credit profile. Everything. Because when we look deeper, it tells us, how are you making payments? When are you making those payments? But most importantly, it's about your morals and your character. That's what we look at, your character. It's an indicator of how you make your payments. Can you make them on time? Why is this showing the way it is? So everything on your credit profile, whether that's personally and or business. And there's ways of us doing the soft pull, and then there's ways of us, if we have to look into something even deeper, with the hard pull. And we'll usually let you know about it. But that's a good question. And I know I can go deeper into this. I know you might have more questions about it. But yeah, we want to look at it overall, not just the front of it and go, oh, they had a 780 FICO. Okay, good. And we don't verify it. And even if when we verify it, we're not just looking at those 3 scores and what's reporting. Especially when you're looking at higher documentation, we're like, okay, they do have these installment loans. They do have personal loans, or they do have auto loans. They have a mortgage. What are they doing there? How are they making their payments on their mortgage? And so we're looking at everything and saying, okay, and they have enough reporting trade lines if that's necessary. Not all types of business funding services are created equally. Does anybody else have questions? Take advantage of this. I'm going to get going in about 5 minutes. That's a very, I want to say the word outlandish comment on a level that, first, people in here wouldn't understand what you're referring to. Not everybody. Secondly, that isn't always the case. Depends on the service you're talking about, and I know what you're talking about. So, yeah, even if it were it's actually on average 1.38, but with a few perhaps broker points on top of that, it could be overall 1.42, 1.43. But when we're talking about the actual factor rate without that, that's sitting at about 38 1.38. You can even see it as 38% interest, but that's not how we calculate it. So it could be 38, 1.38. There's a few things in there. But yeah, without extra content, context, I can see for somebody seeing that, they'd be like, what do you mean? So he's talking about merchant cash advances, primarily speaking. And this is normally where you get between 1.19 to 1.5 or 1.19 to 1.7. Now how we determine an APR. Okay, that's different. But it's not about APRs. It's not even about the rate. If people are fixated on, I got 1.42, the world is over. Well, the reasoning, because you don't know how you're using this money. You probably know how you're using it. You just don't have better benefit of it. Somebody who gets 42% interest on 100,000, 50,000, whatever it is, they're taking that 50K, they're making it 60, 70,000, 80,000. Their revenue is doing this. They're not just like getting the money. And what are they getting the money for? What do you need the money for? For expenses and refinancing, consolidation, and that becomes even more expensive. You're digging yourself even a bigger hole, larger lump sums that you have to pay on top of that. So when people get pushed off of a 1.24, 1.42, 1.45, I'm a numbers guy. I'm a mathematical person, so I look at the numbers and I even give people numbers. And I say, well, 1.42 on top of broker points, if it were at 1.42 flat plus about 4 to 6 points, maybe you're sitting at 1.48. At that point, maybe a 1.46 minimum. Depends on what we have to readjust on the closing if we don't factor in that many points because we want to get something closed faster. So there's a lot of variables. And then looking at it and going, how much did I get approved for? And people go, I got a 1.42 on 450,000. Okay, so I'm expecting back to pay what? 64,000, 65,000 or whatever it is. So I'm paying back about 20 to 25, 20 to 30,000 in about 8 to 9 months. All of you guys are getting fixated on a number like that and missing the point. The point is, does the benefit exceed the repayment? Are you taking this money? Some restaurant owner, they have a new patio set, a gazebo, whatever it is. They fill up that spot with an extra 100 people. That brings them from $7,000 in sales per day to 14,000. Boom, more or less between 7 to 14,000, and consistently they're doing it over time. Now there may be seasonal things and things that come into play, but that person is generating that money. You think they're worried about paying 20 to 25,000 if that's all they qualify for? Hell no. Excuse me, heck no. But they're not worried. They're like, what? And then somebody else over here is like, I gotta pay back 15 to... Like the other day, I've had so many people in my inbox. Michael, I got the offer, but I'm only getting 7,000 and I have to pay back 15,000. I kind of communicated with you already how this works. And so when people go into these applications, they wonder, oh, no. And you're telling me a daily, weekly? Usually we address that before you go into an application. So I don't want to have that when you're already in it. And you wonder why? Because they're not even going to cash flow positive. They're probably not even cash flow positive. They're just going to go backwards. That money is for growth and expansion. Okay, a trucker had a truck, a reefer, whatever was sitting in their garage. They just needed money, more money. They can hire another employee. They can pay them qualified wages. Boom. Then I had to repair something from some extra money on that whatever 50,000 they received. Boom. That truck is now operating. Boom. They're going from 50,000 to 70,000. You think that person is looking back and saying, who cares about that interest? Who cares about the rate? I don't give a rat's. I care more about what I'm doing in my business and if I'm cash flow positive. Will it actually help increase my revenue? So for those of you in here, again, he didn't say that, or it wasn't implied that way. I'm just saying that be careful about what you hear from people that are not even doing this. These are people who probably have these and don't even know what the heck they got themselves into, and they're just spreading information out there that is not true and or justified. People come to me about this every day. They show me their offers. I told the person today, take the line of credit. You got it. We won't be able to get you anything better. Do that. And then I told them, hey, here's another alternative. Personal/startup loan. Or here's a personal loan. Here's a credit line hybrid. Here's a few other things you can combine to get you what you want. But are you going to be a crybaby and sob and kick the wall? Or are you going to take action? The information is there. I'm putting it all there for you on a platter. Are you going to eat? You don't like that meal? Okay. Have you ever had that meal? How are you going to know if you like it or not? Based off what somebody else tells you? Give me a break. And I get it. Sometimes we know we don't like something. I know that myself. I'm not a tuna person. Tried some of it. It's not my thing. Other kinds of seafood I do like. Salmon, tilapia, a lot of it, halibut. So much. But how are you ever going to know until you try? And I'll share with you like how this works. Good question. So whether you're in here now, I just received an email asking or saying their name, and I won't say it here, my phone number. How can we talk? Via email or a phone call? And guess what I'll do? See, there's that message again. Does anybody else see this? I got this the other day. Somebody else told me it was fake. Another person said it was real. Notification termination will ensue if user does not end live stream within 5 minutes. I've seen a lot of these TikTok reporter guidelines or whatever they are. Please let me know in the comments, is that real or not? But they're asking me, how can I get a hold of them? And what I'll do is I'll email them back. I'll email them saying, hey, introducing myself to, welcome. Can you please fill out this questionnaire form? That's what I'm going to do. Fill out the questionnaire form. And I'll send them multiple ones. But this one, they're looking for business funding, so not so much more on the real estate side. So I'll send them my questionnaire form in that email. Guess what? Now they decide if they want to fill it out. I'm not going to be here calling and texting and who do you think I am? Like, there's a time and place for it. It's not now. I'm not just going to call somebody I don't have any information of. What, I'm just going to collect it over the phone? And I love that. I don't mind doing that. There's a time and a place for it, but that's what my questionnaire forms are for. So I can see what you bring to the table. I want to get to know you, excuse me. So I'll ask things like that. But until you fill that out, how am I supposed to know? Like, who am I speaking to? Is this more of an emotional phone call than it is a logical one? I want both. I want to know you, but I also want to know a few bits of things, and I can send you the rest. But if I were to be giving calls to people every single day or collect incoming calls, would you want to be doing that? No, this isn't a call center. But I am the real deal at what I do. I'm flexible with my hours. After this is done, I'm going to go hang out for a little bit, have a quick snack. I'm going to move some things because I have family coming to visit my house. And I got to readjust. So, oh, by the way, since I'm going to have family occupying certain rooms that I cannot right now use or will not be able to fully at the capacity that I want, then I'm not going to say I won't create content, but you might see me in a different room temporarily because I want to give them space. I've had to move things around a lot, and we've done some remodeling and a few things. So if you see me next week, or maybe even later this week, in a different space, that's because we have a lot of family coming over, and I gotta move things around. Even my own office space, I'm giving them. And if you've seen this already, you've seen how it's evolved because of things like that. And I just have left them that way because people want to keep coming in and out. Appreciate you. Thank you. You're sending an email to get things started. And I think you have my email, but again, for everybody else too, it is my first name, Michael, at viralfundingsolutions.com. Again, that's like something going viral. Fundingsolutions.com. And I don't want to get too into why I chose viral, but it's a subset of my other website in my business. And that one is called viralhomebasedpursuit.com. So even before that, I had one in the health space. And then I got into viralhomebasedpursuit.com, where I started talking about all things affiliate marketing, different marketing tools and software that I've been able to leverage. And then I did digital marketing agency stuff. I have other websites. But then I went into my viral funding solutions later down the road. And then, I have all these other entities and formations. And so then I kind of combined the two. So you'll see my blog content associated with Viral Home-Based Pursuit. And you can learn more about me in the bio. Search me up and do things like that. You'll find me. Feel free. I don't mind. I'm sure a lot of people have already. But yeah, definitely reach out to me. And if you have not filled out that questionnaire form, awesome. Let me see this. Appreciate him. Joel, if you're watching this now or later, received your email. Thank you. And what he did here is he said done. And what I'm speaking to is application completed, finished. This guy knows his stuff. He's not in around. He's like, and I talked to him today over the phone. He wanted to get information on how did these merchant cash advances work. He wasn't very clear. So he wanted to hear it over the phone. People like to hear it over the phone and or via email. And so I was just breaking up a few things. Our conversation went here, went there, multiple ways. Then I had to break down what it would look like on a monthly repayment. His industry perhaps could be less, far less. What would it look like on a daily? If you're taking $1 million, probably paying back, over the 240 days over a year, if that's what you were to be receiving in terms of payments on a month, on a daily, that's probably like $5,000. And if not, you're paying back $20,000 a week. 20 by 4, 80, whatever you're paying there, that's about $80,000 overall. And you're talking about how much you're having to pay back. So $80,000 on getting $1 million loan. I mean, think about it. What service are you getting? It might not be a merchant cash advance. Your term might be a little bit longer or whatever that is. So it depends. You have an S Corp. Very good job, by the way. And did you start somewhere before that? Like a lot of us do, self-employed, 1099s. Did you get into an LLC and then transition into an S Corp? Do you have a C Corp? However, I haven't done anything with it for 2022, so you have no documentation. Understood. Hey, this is the world we're in. The word I've been hearing a lot lately are taxes. How do I change corporations? How could I be eligible for more money? What is this? Is this tax deductible? Is this not? How would this actually report? I've had so much, and I'm not a tax consultant or the bookkeeper or the actual CPA. But I do know my way in and out because of my own businesses and because I help out a lot of people. So I know it so well. Appreciate you. Thank you. And so if you have no documentation and haven't done anything, and you're speaking to the fact of I don't have, you want to have your state of incorporation and all these things. Of course, you probably already have all that. We're not going to start there. You're saying more towards bank statements, pre-revenue. Are you there right now? Like you have no revenue coming into the business, no bank statements. You might have personal tax returns done already. Maybe business tax returns of previous years. If you had a different entity or a different structure, Schedule C's, whatever it is. There's a lot of things I can get into, 1120s, of course. But yeah, if you have no documentation, not a problem. However, you have to build. Some of this stuff you're not going to get funding for in the first month, in the first 2 months. More realistically, 3 months. But when you're building your business credit at that point, just it's hard under 4 months. It can happen with what you already have and everything you submit and do. But realistically, 6 to 8 months is when you establish business credit. But with credit lines, you can get access to business credit cards if you're eligible. You can leverage your personal credit to get access to those business credit cards. Now, do you have those? Because in some of these, when credit lines, you don't have to supply documentation at all. No docs, literally no docs, no financials. Okay. No collateral. Okay. Unsecured business credit cards is what you want to do next. So, absolutely what you want to do. Now, if you come to me and tell me I'm going to need funds in the next 3 days or in the next week, of how much it means, that's a different question. And then we could approach this and I can reverse engineer and go, here are your other options. Have you looked into 401k financing? How about an IRA? Perfect. I'll withdraw 20,000. I only needed 30,000. Where do I get the rest of the 10,000? I need a down payment, or I need it for this situation. Excuse me. Will a personal / startup loan work? Can you leverage your personal credit? Can we get your personal credit up? And if you had a verifiable income of this amount, there it is. Would this be able to work? Can we facilitate it? Is another question. There are multiple things you can do. I'm just speaking about a little bit. On the channel, You guys get everything, and you guys will get that with the questionnaire form. Like, you guys are gonna be floored when you guys see what I put in that questionnaire form for you. It's gonna be long, whether you can qualify for it or not. You'll see the 401k IRA, what I recommend, how I do this, how I used to do things, but more so how I have my team now, who I can outsource things to, so I can focus on other forms, and I'm keeping track of what's happening along the way. And then 401k IRA, credit line hybrids, business credit building, angel investors, private equity, hedge funds, venture capitalists, crowdfunding equity, crowdfunding by itself, SBA microloans, grants. Oh my, I haven't even touched upon all of them. The home equity line of credit, the cash out refinance. You can get so creative on these that it is absolutely insane. But it's a little bit of, hey, this is what can happen with the personal loan, but you're not getting the 100,000. Okay, you're probably only getting 70,000. You still need a 30,000 amount, and you do need it. Like, you're like, I need it. You don't understand this. I'm needing it for inventory, and I'm gonna go backwards if I do not. I'm gonna go backwards in my revenue, and I cannot afford to do that. And it's absolutely do or die. I need these funds for whatever project that is at once. So you take 70,000 here, and I go, you're already paying this interest rate. How do we keep it low enough? 70,000 there. You have it over 3 years of a personal loan. Okay. Now what we can then do is add perhaps a business credit card, or we can work on that business credit card you already have. In 2 months from now, then you can ask for requesting the limit increase. So from 20,000, probably you get moved up to 10,000, and it's just doing your due diligence. And you go, I see that. I know what you're doing. And so I'm all for whatever works for you. I don't want to do what's going to benefit myself, as in, like, what do I make in a commission? I don't. Look at that. I don't. I have lenders, underwriters call me because I'm one of their best performing. Honestly, probably their best performing. And there's a lot of brokers and agents out there who will overpromise and underdeliver, where I don't. Like, I know my stuff. Sometimes there's a little slight change in the market, like credit. Like the other day, like credit reports changed on the personal side, well, not too long ago. So keeping track of those things and monitoring them is what I'm trying to consistently do every single day, and I normally do, and that's what I get at. So there's no fluff, no theory, no, well, why can't I get an equipment loan? Why are trucking business owners having a hard time, or construction businesses? I'm going to tell you why. I have things that you don't, because the lenders that I work with and I associate with, the team, the best of the best in this industry. I don't just say that. They go, Michael, here's what's happening right now, and they show me. And I even go to conferences, and they know me, and I'll go, okay, this is what they do. This is why. On a micro level, here are some details. Here's macroeconomically why. Here's our supply. Here's the demand right now. Here's an actual sheet of who's applied and how many people have actually been applying for this type of service. So hopefully you guys can understand that. Jesus, how are you doing? It is possible, even with Square. We have to be careful of using Square and a whole bunch of them. There's more of them I can start naming. PayPal. There's so many different ones out there. But the depositing is what's most important. Depending on the service we go to. Like, if you have business to business, that's okay. And if it's a personal account you're using for business, or personal that you send to business, you're limited. So with that being said, you can make an inference on that. There are different accounts for everything. So without knowing too much of your revenue, without knowing too much of your positioning, got it. Thank you. And that's cool you say that, because my younger brother, he's in real estate as a real estate agent. And how are things going for you? Are you new to this? How long have you been doing it for? My younger brother just got his new home. Oh, I don't want to get into the specifics of what we saw recently, but it's a little bit more of an age to home. But I'm happy for him. I've been at his house. Couldn't do it yesterday. Had to go do a lot of grocery shopping for family that we're going to have tonight. Busy yesterday and today. If I'm already tired now, I'm going to go take a break. But went over to their place on Monday and Tuesday, since we're on Thursday now. Painting. I've been painting since last week on Friday, I think, Friday through Tuesday. And then I've been doing some buffering. I've been having to do some adding some chemicals to the wall to remove some things, and then scraping them out, adding more coating, primer, letting it sit there for about 15 minutes, coming back, scraping it, and then buffering the next few days, making sure we remove the marks. But painting, a lot of it on my side, and then people were doing other forms that I can go in there and contribute on. But a lot of taping, but just my shoulders. I don't know if you guys, it's therapeutic, but for me, like most people, I get tired of doing it. I'll be like painting or putting primer and putting paint, however many coatings, and I'm like 20 to 30 minutes in, and I'm like, I can do this for a little bit. I got my thoughts together again. I feel really relaxed just painting, just me, myself, in my zone. Maybe there's some music or my headphones are in, and I'm listening to a podcast, maybe some music thereafter. So I was just there, putting the primer, thin, width, up and down certain sections, and then putting another coat of primer the next day after that one dried at the time we were doing it, and then coming in to have to paint it, and then other walls having to be painted white, and using the long stick roller, and then the short form. And it gets tiring, guys. Like, I got a full day of work, and then on top of that, I have to go and paint, do some labor work. I'm already tired, like mentally, if not physically, from an exercise workout, but I have a strong mind. Like most people don't. My mindset, you can't break me down. And that's because I've built it over time. I've worked on myself personally. And so when I show up to something, I'm happy about it. I don't cry. I don't get upset about having to go do something, because what defeats all purpose? How strong of a mind I've built. Nice, for 5 years. So you have a good amount of time in there. And yeah, this is definitely something that we can look at as a sole proprietor. Yeah, that's something that we can look at. And depending on how those payments are coming in and what accounts we have to look at. But what I recommend most people do when they start getting to this stage, and I've been in your shoes, the whole sole proprietor, 1099, independent contractor, independent or gig worker, self-employed. When you get the time to and you build into it, and you're more, I wouldn't say revenue generating, but you are more established yourself with what you're doing and you take it serious, get your LLC. I would do it from the very beginning. It depends on the business you're going into, but get your LLC to start with. Later down the road, if it makes sense for you to do S Corp, C Corps, for many reasons, tax return reasons, and a lot. I don't want to get into that subject right now, although I do know it. I know it very well. But make sure you have the right entity, because this will also open up doors for business credit, getting approved for better limits for credit lines. Does anybody else have questions? I was supposed to leave earlier, but when people are commenting, I'll stick around for a little bit. So yeah, here's another person who submitted a personal loan. There's more personal loan clients right now. My others are a lot more. Lines of credit, term loans, SBA loans. We're evaluating them for a lot of them. Those of them who have already gone through the underwriting process, I have everything right here. I have all the documents. This person we are making it a second contact with because we need more documentation. They know what to expect. They're going to send it to me. This person has already been done in underwriting. They know what they're going to be getting. We have already explained to them that. This other person has already their financing options presented, but they're waiting to accept because they want to look to get an SBA loan first. But I need the documents. I already talked to them. I'm expecting documentation to be sent to me. And that's the major thing that most business owners don't have, is the right documents. If I'm going to go into this with you, you're going to know what I'm going to need. Why would I blindly tell you to come and apply and then be dumb enough to then ask for documents that you may or may not even have or be prepared with? Just so what? I can be the broker who has claimed you? That's dumb. There's people in this industry who do that. They bait and switch. They tell you, hey, we can get you a weekly payment of this amount. You just start the application here. Send me the documentation there. And guess what? I have these occurrences with people who they do this. They come to me and go, hey, Michael, I have a few offers. Okay, we'll try to get you one better. I have a lender here who can work with you. Okay, no, they're saying no to this, all right, because of this, all right. So be careful of what lender or what organization you work with, because it's hard. It's hard out there when you're getting inquiries after inquiries, whether they're soft or not. It's just, hard inquiries even worse. So social security numbers at fraud, God, the dark web. You guys wouldn't believe everything that I've been seeing. Not on me. That's not. I take care of my personal and business credit, but you wouldn't believe the amount of stories that I get. And there's always a way for me to help. Now, what that means, that's different. There you go. Just responding back to another email received. Thank you. Simple. Now we are going to be under review, and we'll be looking at their application, and then we can proceed to the next step. Here's what we do. Will you be accepting of this pre-approval, or would this look good to you? Yes, it does. Okay. Now we can work on the next step. What do I need next? What do I need next? Simple, simple, simple. It's not effing this and that. No. Nobody's got energy and time for that. So you are welcome. Should you use your social security or EIN number? You can use either or realistically. To apply, certain lenders will want your social security. And for the most part, that's what it will be. If you have your EIN, I get it, TIN, ITIN, but a lot of the times it will be social security, just so you know this, because we do a checkup on your, and it depends on the service, like what are we doing? Is it business credit cards? What other format are we doing? No PGs. There's a little bit of a difference there. But the reason they ask for social security, and it's not fraud, it's not like we're taking this and using it against you. We want to verify you, who you are, and then we want to know, I mean, the ownership, of course, but we also want to know your personal credit. That's a way for us to look and dig even into your personal credit from the IRS and a few other things. So it's just important to have. So that's what I would lead in with. And I know we all have social security numbers, and maybe a majority of us don't. EIN numbers for different entities, etc. But if you have that option, I mean, it's up to you when you decide. It's not like, I'd say social security is better, but it's okay. Most people don't want to supply that. There's probably fraudulent activity already being reported. So if you want to lead in with your EIN, I mean, we have other ways of looking up information. Don't think because of that, it's like we don't do our due diligence. Like, we don't give you money until we know absolutely whether it makes sense to or not. Like, who's going to give somebody money that's not going to pay it back? My friends and family ask for me for money all the time. And I make them, I don't want to use the word work for it. I make them understand the value of me giving them money. Even if I'll give it to them or not, I'm going to make them understand the value of me giving them the money. That doesn't mean I'll give it to them. Like, you help your kids understand and walk them through life. You want what's best for them, don't you? You want to make sure that they're not getting themselves into things that they shouldn't. That, not quote unquote, you're disciplining them, but you are there and you're guiding them, showing them things that, hey, I want to show you a little piece of me. This is how things work, and this is what's appropriate versus what isn't. And always being there for them and caring for them. Showing them, hey, this is the right direction. You don't want to go there. Make sure we're doing this. You get to their eye level. You kneel down if you have to, and you speak to them. But at the end of the day, they're going to know you're there. No matter how hard you may be on them, they'll grow up to realize that you were there for them the whole time. If they weren't like this with me, like my dad, like I'm telling you, I grew up in a Hispanic, for all my Hispanic Latinos out there, And I grew up in Orange County, California. So I'm more American than the majority. But I know Spanish. I can speak it, write it, read it. Now, sometimes my words in Spanish, because I don't speak it on a day-to-day basis, well, I do, but it's not as extensive. Sometimes the words, I like have to remember them again. But I'm very fluent in what I say. But, you know, growing up in a Hispanic household, I was disciplined. Like, my parents grew up different. So I was disciplined. My younger brother was disciplined. And my little brother, you can only imagine a Gemini. My younger brother, a Gemini. That's all I got to say. If you know, you know. And as loving as they are, they're so freaking stubborn. They only want to hear what they want to hear. They'll say something. They'll show compassion. But then they'll turn the script over and make it about them. Don't think I'm lying here, because I have his fiance's a Gemini too. And I'm not saying that's like I look down on them. No, that's not what it is. It's just a thing that comes with, hey, we care, we love, we can be romantic, but hey, I want you to hear what I want to say, and if it's not my way or the highway. And so the way I was growing up was, hey, go to school, which I did. I went to school academically. I played soccer, Division I, went higher ranks, and I'm not athletically built, but I got this. Center midfield player, one of the hardest positions to play. But guess what I had? I didn't have to run too much. I just had this. I had the skills. Talent, I had to grow into that. But I had this. And so, growing up, it wasn't always easy. I got what they call the cinto, which, in other words, it's the belt, when I was young. And that's just the way it works when you're in a Hispanic family. And not only Hispanic families, I'm sure it happens in others, but, you know, that's how sometimes you have to be taught. And it's not like I was bad. I was never, like, bad. But, you know, that's a form of discipline that we grow up with. And so, let me look over here. Did you? Nice. Were you center, midfield, left, right wing, attacking, holding, pivot? Did you? Congratulations. Yeah, you passed the safe test. Nice. And looking for a sponsor to be a loan originator. I mean, this is something we could speak off topic. I don't want to go too off on a tangent. But again, congratulations on doing that. That's a huge feat. But that's something you can email me more about. Michael@viralfundingsolutions.com. We can talk about that off the screen here. And then see what kind of goals you have, and then how they could best be aligned with, and then what I can do with myself and or to connect you with. So you know how it goes. With you and I, there's no words that need to be expressed. That's up. Appreciate you. And so you are welcome. And so that's more of a, we get it. I was an attacking center midfielder for the majority of my playing career. And then I played, when I got to like the college plus level, I flourished and I enjoyed, I believe I would say I enjoyed more of the holding center midfield role. So I played that center midfield role. And I was just I knew the field. I knew where players were before. And so I knew if I saw here, without even looking, I knew my player would be there. I looked back, he'd be there, but I knew he wasn't going to be there after a second. So I knew he would be right here. I knew how I would receive the ball with my back against the goal, in front of the goal, one touch out of my foot, two touches out, simple, 1-2, out, back in, switch, up front, play 1-2 here. I join in the play, boom, right here, play 1-2, boom, done. You're done. And it's just, I was very savvy about, I haven't played in a little bit, but I've been very savvy about where I am at all points in the game. So I'm already positioned. Where you're at, you're already out. And so if I sometimes had to play that long ball, I already knew where I was going to play it. I already know 3 options, 1 became 2. Option 2 was eliminated. I only had option 1 and option 3. Option 3 became option 2, and that even became option 1. Sorry guys if I'm going off here on a tangent. How do you get in contact with me? Good question. Bio, link click, first button, funding submission form, fill out that form, evaluate, analyze, give your proper response back via email. Or you can also go to viralfundingsolutions.com and then scroll down to where how it works. Excuse me. And then you can go to the services tab at the top of the page, get started there. But I'm changing people's lives, guys, not only in business, but on a personal level. So be at your best at all times. Don't worry about something that you can't control. Only control what you can. You might not know what that is, but you'll figure it out. You're not in business yet. You're like, what's my pattern like? What is the market doing? How will I make money this month? That's always a question on your mind. That's always the number one. How do I make money? How do I make the money by the end of the month? I need to make at least 10,000. But you need to be asking yourself, who do I need to become to be that person that makes that kind of money? How do I learn the skills that'll make me that kind of money? What skills do I need to learn? Who do I need to hire? Who do I need to set in this position if it's not me? I have people like that in my organizations. CPAs, attorneys, BAs, in certain businesses more than others. So they're like, okay, I got you for this. And then this is where I come in and I go, okay, let me take control of this part. This is what I know best at. Boom. If somebody else comes in and replicates what I can do, I'm going to show them exactly how I do things. Can they execute? Received. Thank you very much. And it's Ulises. Appreciate you. Thank you. Hopefully I said that right. I know another guy who's named Yuli. Just submitted my question. Looking forward to hearing from you. As in, you submitted the questionnaire. Got it. So I got you guys. This is real-time stuff. This is not no fluke. Hey, submit something and I won't see it. I'm going to mess around. No. Nobody's got time for that BS. So I'm over here now and I can go to my questionnaires. So the questionnaire form. Let's see. Did you say you submitted the questionnaire or not? Because I'm not seeing, it might come in a little bit. But let me see. Yeah, your name isn't in this questionnaire yet. So it'll be the first button at the top for the funding questionnaire. So there will be a button at the top. Or if you went to the site, yeah, if you went from my TikTok link, the first button is the one, right? Where they showed you the two options, startup versus non-startup. And then you went to the contact form. If you submitted that, that should be landing in my email inbox, if not now, shortly. Okay. Probably is a little bit of a delay. Yeah, I'll give it a second. And then what I'll then do on my end, here, let me see this. Let me go into my WP back office. Guys, I'm very well versed. Hold on, give me one moment before you do that. I'm looking at my form. It should be processed because there's a lot before you that have been. Sometimes updates and plugins, and then a conflict with the cookies and the hosting. It's common. That's why I'm always keeping track of these things. So I'm in here now for my dashboard, and I'm using Thrive Themes, by the way. I recommend that. Shout out Thrive Themes if you're using that. It's a great, oh man, This, if you're not using a WordPress website, I would jump on that. Not like you need one, you can use Wix, but for what you need, SEO and stuff like that, I mean, you might want to use WordPress more of it. But here, this gives you a full suite of everything. Like you can create courses, you can capture leads, build quizzes, which I've built tons of them. And yeah, this should be good to go. You could try to submit it again. I don't think it came through. Yeah, make sure that questionnaire gets submitted. And it should come into my inbox that I'm in right now on this certain email. And then what I want to do is maybe there was a red error at the top. Sometimes it shows. It shouldn't be showing anymore. So let me go to my form now that I have my WP back office. Go to my questionnaire. I'm going to select non-startup because that's who I am. You would select startup if you are. And then that's where the form is. So I'm going to just verify things on my end. Put some random numbers that already automatically populate. 100% ownership of my business. I'm not going to get into ownerships of businesses right now, but that's a big thing, huge thing. That brokers don't tell you this on percent ownership. Depends on what it is, like SBA 20%, 51% and over. But what needs to be given and provided. A lot of people are fooling you. Highest monthly sales, as in like, if you have 50-50 split, we want to see both owners on the application. Is there a third owner? What is the split? What's the percentage? And we'll look at those personal credit scores. We'll factor what the lowest one is too, and we have to take that into consideration with the majority of it. Are you the majority owner? Usually 80% and above, 51% and over. A lot of the times we don't have to look at that extra business owner. Now there's a lot more to that. I'm sure people don't tell you that, do they? When you go and apply. Like, why did I get this? Why did I get that? And we're complaining about things. There's a lot more. Let's do this here. Submitting. I created all this stuff, guys, by the way, myself. And yeah, it should go through. Let's see here. Mine came through, so you'll want to have to submit it again. Not sure why. Oh, there it is. No, actually, no. This is Same, which I spoke to earlier on. He left me a YouTube comment, and I've been kind of speaking to him already. So that one's already in. And back here, okay, that one's done. I just need to have yours come in. Here he is again. Hey, it's Mr. AZ. Please, nobody pay any mind to this individual. Yesterday with JM and a few people, if you were here, he was commenting on, I don't know, he was commenting on this, and then he would follow up with Cash is King, and then he would go into a few other things that, it was just flatline comments. Like, I challenged them to explain more, elaborate, as well as a few other people. He didn't never elaborate on it. So pay no mind. He's saying you don't know the game, and I don't know what this is all about. So I'll leave it open for about another minute or two, and then I'll get going. And I don't want to be that guy who has to, I don't want to do that, like single one person out like that. I don't like that. But if you keep showing up and doing things like this, you give me no other reason to not do it. Like, I'm not just going to sit here and be like, there's a time when I ignore it and I don't acknowledge you. So unless you bring up something to the table, I will not be acknowledging you. So about 1 or 2 more minutes, guys, and I'll get going. I haven't said this, but it's probably late now. If you're getting value from the room, please share it. I'd greatly appreciate it if you did. You don't have to. Kind of getting to the end of it. Oh, I have a meeting. I gotta go speak to somebody in a little bit. Let me double check that though. Got one at 2 o'clock. So here, let's do this. Okay, for the amount that they're looking for, that's, and based off of just revenue alone, that won't work. So this might be a commercial property mortgage situation, or that it could be an asset-based financing situation. But because of their revenue alone, I mean, they're doing well enough. But yeah, that won't end up, I don't know how that makes sense. I'm looking at their numbers here and I'm like, how does that average daily bank balance look like that? And you have an annual gross revenue of that amount. And then you have a high average amount of sales. It almost sounds like they were just putting numbers just to put them. Almost does. Yeah, I'll go into that one a little bit deeper. I know what I'm going to do. Okay, appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in, as always. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Fill out that questionnaire. All forms are in the bio. Everything you need to do there. Description if you're watching this on YouTube later on. And yeah, that'll conclude everything. Have a safe and great afternoon if you're already in that part of the world where it's evening. Maybe it's the morning. But I will talk to you all soon. Take care.